today is the last episode of season 1 of our podcast. We have been posting 1 episode a week for 56 weeks. We have interviewed 6 award-winning journalists, 13 founders, 6 elite athletes, 10 musicians. We also completed the Wicked trifecta. When you guys are watching our running interview show, you're only seeing a 3-minute version of what often is an hour-long conversation. Post-Run High was born as a way to show you guys more of our conversations and also to capitalize on that post-run or workout endorphins rush that you feel only after you move your body. We're talking about 3 things. First is what we have learned through season 1, what we're gonna be doing in season 2, and then just talking about our life updates as well. What is up, guys? Welcome back to Post Run High. I just went for a little 3-mile solo run and did a bit of a workout after, so my endorphins are flowing. I'm feeling good, and I am just so excited for us to get into today's season 1 wrapped episode. So yes, today is the last episode of season 1 of our podcast, and it is so crazy to say that since we have been posting 1 episode a week for 56 weeks. So yes, season 1 went on for a little bit over 1 year, but that does not mean we are stopping filming. We have a very busy December ahead of us as we gear up for season 2, which we will be launching in January. So thank you guys so much for your support this past year as we have taken on this podcasting journey. It has been such a learning experience for me and my team, and your faith in us is the reason we are able to continue doing this show for season 2. I have personally found so much purpose in being able to go deeper with our guests after our runs, and we are just so excited to keep growing these conversations with you, and we're so excited to bring on guests we can learn from together, and I will dive more into what I mean by that in a few minutes. But first, I just want to say, people always ask me why I started this show. And since it is just you and I here for a little bit, I figured let's talk about it. So first of all, the Post Run High podcast would not exist without the running interview show, which is how I got my start on social media. Back in 2023, my husband and I had the idea to create a show where movement and conversation could exist together. And I talk about this a lot, but running has always been the place where I think clearly and where I can get really honest with myself. And what Jeremy and I realized is that other people open up the same way when they're moving. And we are actually going to have a psychologist on soon in season 2 that is going to dive into this phenomena a little bit more with us. That person may or may not be my mother-in-law, but Jeremy and I brainstormed together and we thought to ourselves, what if we captured that phenomena on camera? And what if we let people be themselves, let them be out of breath, unpolished, in motion, and on a run or a walk with me leading the conversation? And then after almost 2 years of doing the running interview show, we started having the urge to go deeper with our guests. And when you guys are watching our running interview show, you're only seeing a 3-minute version of what often is an hour-long or 30-minute long running or walking conversation. So Post Run High was born as a way to show you guys more of our conversations and also to capitalize on that post-run or workout endorphins rush that you feel only after you move your body. And so that is a very simplified version of how Post Run High was born, not to mention our team having to also learn how to use all of this production gear, build a set in Brooklyn, and build sets across the country. Whenever we are filming on the go, we film a lot of episodes on the go and meet people where they are, and also learn all the things that go into post-production, which I could spend hours talking about. And guys, we have definitely not mastered any of this yet, but we've had a lot of fun learning along the way and just challenging ourselves to figure it out with our tiny team of people helping. And speaking of our studio in Brooklyn, I have to say this because this is one of the last times you guys are going to see me here in our Brooklyn studio for a few months, because we are heading to LA for the winter because A, it is freezing in New York, and B, after almost 3 years of doing our running interview show, I have learned that it is very hard to convince people to go for runs in sub 30-degree Fahrenheit weather. And if I'm being totally honest, as I've gotten older, I feel the same way. I used to be a little psycho that could run in freezing cold weather. I could run in the snow. And now I have to say that with my lifetime membership, I've gotten a little bit spoiled and a little bit comfortable, and it's very hard for me to run outside. So yes, we will be filming both the running interview show and Post Run High out in LA through the end of February. And then we're going to be spending a week in Austin, Texas to also film the show. And then finally making our way home to New York City for the foreseeable future, because guys, I have a very big life update, probably my biggest, that we will get to at the end of this episode with Jeremy. And it's going to require me to hunker down for a little bit here in New York. And you guys are actually going to be the first people to know about it today. So for today's episode, without further ado, Jeremy, come on. Come on, come on, come on. We're talking about 3 things. Said it in the beginning of the episode. First is what we have learned through season 1, what we're going to be doing in season 2, and then just talking about our life updates as well.
Well, Kate, thank you so much for having me. I've overheard this show so many times.
Jeremy Warden, welcome to Post Run High. How are you feeling?
Well, while you were running earlier, I was doing a Soto method app, which Hillary Hoffman, that's her name. Got a good thing going on. And yeah, I didn't run, but I'm feeling good. Yeah,
Jeremy and I have found one of our like personal 2025 updates is that we have like fallen in love with Soto method. And I felt really lucky because I actually got to do a video with Hillary Hoffman, who is the founder of Soto method.
You did a running video.
Well, yes, we did a running. I should have her on the podcast though.
You should.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I'm a fan. I feel like it's like when people are fans of Peloton instructors.
Yeah.
I never was on the Peloton bandwagon, but I'm on the Soto app.
I love Soto method. I love all the instructors that are in her studio and also on the app. It's so cool to like see them in person and then also do the app. So for people listening, we just have to set some context here. Soto method is an in-studio workout class in New York City that also has an app. The same instructors that are teaching in studio teach on the app. The classes are exactly the same. So I love it because it's way more affordable than going to the class all the time. Although I do like to treat myself a couple times a month to going to the class in person, saying hi to the instructors because they have become like a little fitness family for me in the city. And I like going and working out with friends. Obviously, I'm a big workout with a friend or a buddy type of person. But anyways, it's a really great app. I actually was at the gym today after my run doing a quick 30-minute Soto session, which I did not make it all the way through. So whatever. But the girl that was also in the same studio as me, I noticed was doing a Soto method workout class too. So
it's going to blow up.
Yeah.
I mean, I must say, when I go to those classes, I'm the only guy. Yeah. And when I'm on the app, there are not a lot actually, I don't think there are any male instructors on the app. But I still do it.
Honestly, there should be. I feel like they should get a couple guys because it's such a good workout for girls and guys. And I see guys in the class all the time when I'm there.
When Hillary comes on the pod, we'll have this discussion.
Yeah, maybe Jeremy will be the first Soto method male instructor.
Dream come true.
Do you think you could teach a Soto method class?
No.
Do you think you understand the format though at this point?
I get it. And I think what I like about it is it's very time efficient. Like you can go on the app and I know today, sorry, I didn't come on to talk about the Soto, but here we are. But like there's 5-minute classes, 10-minute classes, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, all the way up to an hour. So for me, like today I went down, I was on the treadmill a little bit and then I was like, all right, I got to call in 35 minutes. All right, I'm going to do a 30-minute Soto. So I like that. It's like super time efficient.
Yeah, super time efficient. And I know you mentioned Peloton before. I'm also a big fan of Peloton. And during COVID, I was like doing Peloton spin classes every single day. I was doing a lot of just their like mat workout classes. And they also are really efficient with timing. Like they do 10-minute, 20-minute, whatever workouts. And it's funny because I feel like during COVID, I didn't totally understand the purpose behind like a 15-minute workout. You know, I was kind of like, well, that's not a real workout. But now, as I've gotten older, I'm like, and if I don't have that much time in a day and I only have 15 minutes, like there's something about those 15-minute classes that actually are great and still make you feel good. And I think it just goes to show that any amount of movement throughout a day, whether you have 5 minutes or 90 minutes, it still makes you feel good just to move your body.
I remember when you had the knee surgery following. Was that the last time you ran the New York City Marathon?
Yep. The last time I ran the New York City Marathon. Oh God, should we tell the whole story?
Let's tell a story.
Oh gosh,
we're here.
Okay.
We're here for a good one
So
today.
the last time I ran the New York City Marathon.
This is the Post Run High fam today.
Yeah.
They can learn it.
And I promise, guys, we have a set schedule for today's episode, but whatever, we'll riff for a little bit. But Jeremy and I had gone out in August to see your brother in Colorado. It was the first time I was meeting your older brother, Alex, and you are going to be able to do a better job explaining Alex. So maybe you kind of explain your brother, and then I'll tell what happened.
He's a maniac.
Yeah. He's in the Army. He's an adrenaline junkie. He is very much so a risk taker. And I think that's because he had cancer when he was a kid. And now he's somebody that just like sees life in a different way, and it takes things to the extreme. And so basically the first day we got to Colorado, he took us on this hike on basically the side of the highway. It was like an unmarked trail. It was kind of like if you're on the highway driving in a car, you know, those moments where you're like,
also known as a mountain.
Okay.
He took us on a hike up a mountain.
Up a mountain. Yes. But I just want to
you
explain
got there by the highway.
But
you took a road to get there.
Okay. But for the girls and the guys listening, this is like how I would explain it. Do you know those times when you're driving on the highway and you're kind of just like in the car in your own thoughts, and you're just like looking up at the mountains that you're passing while driving and thinking to yourself, could I climb that? Like that is exactly what we did. We climbed one of those, and we did it at
You did have to use your hands. It was a legit, it wasn't like we, you know, when you see the videos and people have the shoes that like somehow clip into the mountain and they have a hook on their hand that they reach up and grab and pull. It wasn't like that, but there were parts where you actually had to like use your hands and like kind of crawl upwards.
Yeah, I honestly could have used
it was mostly a walk hike.
Yeah.
But then when we got to the top, I remember just thinking like, oh, and we wanted to catch the sunset. So we got to the top, beautiful sunset, amazing. It was a very beautiful moment. I think it was a good moment for all of our relationship. And then it was a terrible moment for our relationship because Kate goes, okay, so like where's the stairs down?
No, I didn't say that.
Well, I think I actually honestly said that. I looked at Alex and I was like, all right, where's the easy route? Like, what's the easy path down? He was like, you go down the same way you come up. And I was just like, what?
And guys, we were like scrambling up this mountain. It was like basically little teeny pebbles that are like impossible to not just trip on. So you're literally on all fours, like, I don't know, bear climbing up this mountain. And then we had to go back down it, and keep in mind that we were up there to see the sunset. And then all of a sudden the sun set, and
so it was dark.
It was pitch black, and when it's pitch black in the mountains in Colorado, it's pitch black. You can't see a thing. So we had our flashlights on our phone. We're going down this like pebbly steep like mountain, and I wipe out.
You're like sliding down.
I was literally sliding down on my butt because I don't have an ACL in my right knee because I tore you guys know the story, but basically I've torn my ACL twice, never got surgery the second time. Now I do everything without an ACL, but my limitations are that I can't do any lateral movement.
She's not a good pickleball partner.
Yeah, not a good pickleball. I can't do anything. Like I can't ski. I can't do any side-to-side movement. It knocked me out of sports when I was in high school. But anyway, so as we're going down this trail, I'm like very aware of my surroundings. If I'm on a slippery surface, if I'm in a slippery bar, if I'm at the beach when you're walking on sand, like I just have to be very aware of like where I'm stepping. Because if you make the wrong move without an ACL, where your body can't like do lateral movement, your knee will buckle, and it's really uncomfortable. And if you're somebody that's experienced having your knee buckle, or maybe you don't have an ACL or you've torn your ACL, you know what this means or feels like, and it's awful. But again, I've gotten good at knowing what to not do to avoid that happening. So of course I'm going down this mountain. It's like pebbly, slippery, whatever. I'm on all fours, kind of like reverse bear climbing. Like what would it be, like a crab walk? I was crab walking down the mountain.
I don't know. And
sliding. And then I
think that's a disservice to the crab.
Yeah.
Calling that a crab walk. It's a
crab walk, right? I'm just trying to like, it's like the opposite of a bear walk where you're kind of like the opposite way, but your body's inverted. But
it was a Kate walk.
It was a Kate walk. I don't know. I was doing something. Anyways, I stood up for like 1 second. All of a sudden I slipped down this mountain. My knee buckles out of control. And this was day one of our Colorado trip, mind you. I'm like training for the New York City Marathon. I had long run to do that weekend while we were there, which I was so excited to do because it was like beautiful in Colorado.
Hey, you ran like 7 miles the next day.
Okay, training with a little bit of elevation. And then I like basically couldn't walk for the rest of the week. I got better by the end of the week, but my knee was just like very messed up. But obviously I was in like marathon mode. So I was like, oh God,
You're, like,
I have to get my
running.
mileage in. And this is like, also I was very young. So it's kind of like you learn that it would have been completely fine if I took 2 weeks to, recalibrate and like, heal myself. But regardless, I was never going to heal myself, because when I slipped down that mountain, my fall was so bad that the screws from my original ACL surgery that were still in my knee, of course, had gotten loose in my knee. And they were basically, as I was training for the marathon and running, they were floating around my knee somewhere and cutting through my cartilage and like some other ligaments in my knee that are still there. Anyways, and I would have this crazy sensation when I'd be like running through Central Park where I would like scream at the top of my lungs, and I was like, oh my God. And so of course you never in a million years think, oh, it's literally medical screws loose in your knee. Like I thought it was like every other thing possible.
You said Baker cyst.
I thought it was a Baker cyst, which is very common for people.
Her knee would swell up.
Yeah.
She'd be like, that's a big, like, I don't know. I've never seen this Baker cyst before.
Baker cysts are very common for people that have had ACL tears, and even people that have gotten them repaired and not retorn. So anyways, I never obviously would have guessed that it was a medical screw. Basically continued training with this crazy pain. And obviously like the pain wasn't every single time I ran, but it was like maybe once a week. And that was because the screw was literally like readjusting in my knee that I would feel it, like flipping or whatever. And yeah, ended up doing the New York City Marathon, didn't feel it at all, which I was so happy about. And then basically the next week, I thought to myself, oh, let me just like go to the doctor and see what's up. And I went to the hospital for special surgery in the city, which is where I had my surgery when I was, how old was I? Like 14, my first surgery. And they compared my 2021 x-ray to my x-ray when I was 14 years old. And the doctor or the PA calls me basically right after they got my results back. And he was like, do you have crutches in your apartment? And of course, who has crutches in their apartment? Nobody. Like, I was like, no. And he was like, okay, well, you need to come in for emergency surgery. I think it was like either the next day or 2 days post that phone call. And the doctor like squeezed me in because I had this emergency situation where these screws were floating around in my knee, and I ran the New York City Marathon doing that. And, yeah, since then I haven't ran actually, I guess I have ran a marathon since then. And I definitely now deal with overusage more than I used to. Like my knee gets more swollen if I like run too many miles. And by too many miles, I mean like if I do a marathon, I really have to take time off. But yeah, that was my 2021 marathon experience, running with medical screws loose in my knee, cutting through my cartilage.
You left out the part where I nursed you back to health.
Jeremy did nurse me back to health.
I flew. Kate called me and was like, hey, I'm getting surgery. Can you come? Can you come help out? And yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you realized like what it would entail, but I literally couldn't do anything. You were making us food.
Not very
good. I think
good.
Brendan was staying with us too, my twin, for a little.
It took a community.
Yeah, that was funny. But yeah, it was good. Luckily, that surgery was nowhere near as extreme as an ACL surgery. And within like 2 weeks, I was able to be back to moving and grooving and doing the Peloton a little bit and doing some workouts at the gym and slowly getting back into running. But that was definitely crazy. I can't believe I ran 26.2 miles with that freaking thing in my knee, and obviously all the training miles. And I really trained for that marathon that year.
This was like December 2021?
When I got the surgery?
Or was this 2022?
No, 21.
I think it was 22.
No, I ran the marathon in 21.
Oh, okay.
I think 22 was the year that was like really hot.
I think it was the end of 2021. Oh, I guess
it was.
The marathon would have been in November.
It was the end of 2021.
Okay.
Yeah, we weren't like officially dating yet or anything.
Nice.
We were just friends. But yeah, you're feeling good post your workout.
I'm feeling good, and I'm feeling good after this amazing season 1 of Post Run High.
Yeah. So Jeremy has been obviously a huge part of the show, both behind the scenes and on the scenes. He's in a lot of our videos. You probably see him in a lot of my content. But Post Run High, was your idea. So you've been the biggest advocate for the show.
You want to tell them the story behind the name?
Yeah.
I was in a GTX class at Lifetime, and Kate she became an amazing storyteller. The medium for storytelling for a couple of years was running with her phone in her hand with a tripod and getting an hour of footage and compressing it into a 3-minute clip, and thought that, I think you would be great at a long form, just where you can kind of let your ideas flow and not have to edit it after into like little digestible bites.
And also show people that I'm the one guiding the conversations. I think a lot of people, like the one thing that I get triggered about with my running interview show, and I feel like this is a safe space, this podcast, so I can talk about it, but I have so many people be like I had this girl say this to me at Art Basel. Oh my God, my voice. Sorry, guys. At Art Basel, I had somebody say to me, they were like, well, we have this update coming up that we'll talk about in a little bit.
Stay tuned for
the update. But this girl was saying to me, she's like, well, you're going to be fine because like you're not even in your videos anyways. And I was like, I am very much so in the videos. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm the one running with them. I'm the one guiding the conversation. Like, you think these people are just like saying stuff without being prompted? It's like I go in and I prep for a full interview. And yes, like you're seeing a very condensed down version, but it's like it takes somebody being with them that A, is showing up with the right energy to make people feel good and feel comfortable opening up to you. But B, it's like they don't just talk about different topics without being prompted. Like I am the one there guiding the conversation the entire way through, and also doing it while running, having to make sure my energy levels stay up when the guests are getting exhausted. You know what I mean? So I got kind of triggered by that because I was like, well, yes, my videos are like storytelling about other people, but it's like I'm the one creating the environment for them to tell their story and prompting them with the questions to get things out of them, and also making them feel comfortable, and then also the one crafting the story afterwards and taking hours of video footage and condensing it into 3 minutes to tell their story in a way that makes sense, but also pulls the key moments from so much footage. You know what I mean? So I got a little annoyed by that. I was like, okay.
Well, you are definitely very much
yeah.
in your podcast. No debate there.
Yeah. And
Kate wanted it to make sense. Like you're like, all right, I want to do a podcast, but I only want to do it if it like, I'm not just going to be another podcast. Like obviously there's a lot of podcasts out there, and really appreciate you guys for being here. It really does mean a lot because there are a lot of podcasts out there. So I think I came up with a couple ideas where you're kind of like, I don't know about that one. And then I was at the GTX class at Lifetime. And if you guys are familiar with that, kind of like Barry's, where half of it's like running, half of it's floor workout. And I just finished a class and I booked it. I think I was up to like 17.2 world record, GTX world record on the treadmill. It's definitely not the world record, but I was feeling it.
Yeah.
And I just thought, like, it just literally came to my head. I was like, I've got it. I'm feeling it right now. Like, I'm feeling the post-run high. Like, I can feel it. And then I just texted Kate, post-run high.
Yeah.
And I think you were just like, yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm. And here we are. Look at the wall.
Post-run high.
Look at the wall. Look at the mic. Look at behind your head.
When Jeremy texted me that, I was like, that is so good. And it did make so much sense because, we were toying with a couple other ideas because we had this urge to go deeper. And then, that was the one that just totally made the most sense. And just as the most natural fit with our show too. Like, I didn't want to do something that required me doing a completely new show. Like, this show works so well for us because we go for a run with our guests. And then if that guest so happens to have extra time, like an hour and a half, we say to them, we can use that time to sit down for our podcast post-run high. We're already feeling good. It's kind of like having a drink, don't have to have a drink. You just go for your run, sit down for the podcast. You've already opened up with each other so much and gotten comfortable on the run that it makes for a really seamless long form podcast. And it just made so much sense because we were already hanging out with so many of our guests for like a half hour post the run anyways, that it was just like, well, let's just put this on video.
And when you listen to the show, you can feel it.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone, you smiley, happy. Like you can honestly feel that energy. I think it conveys itself. But I remember the first few guests because initially there was no podcast partner. iHeart is now a partner on the show, and guys, can I announce it right now? Or iHeart has picked the show up for season 2.
Woo!
So the show will go on, but
Yeah.
initially it was very much bootstrapped, and I think the first like 5 episodes that were recorded, there was no podcast online, so you couldn't be like, hey, do you want to be on my Post Run High podcast? Because it didn't exist. So people would come for the run, and then you just be like, oh, do you want to go upstairs after?
We'd be like, do you want to go podcast for a little bit?
Yeah,
And people were like, do you have a podcast?
And just like, yeah, we're working on it. Yeah. So yeah, people would just come upstairs and podcast. And the set did not look like it does right now. It was very much like a makeshift MVP set. And then I think posted 5 episodes, and was enough for iHeartRadio to come in and say, all right, we think this has legs. And here we are a year later and trying to figure out how to do season 2.
Yeah, we really sent it. We built this beautiful set.
Kate built the set. I must say, I was very much. I like the MVP set. I could say, if it was up to me, the set from the first 2 shows would probably be the set it is today.
Really?
I mean, it's an audio first. Kate's more aesthetic than I am.
I just like we are fortunate in the sense that Jeremy and I, when we first moved to Brooklyn, we both had wanted to have an office space that we could go to outside of our apartment. I think like if you live in New York or in a city that, you know, has cramped apartment living, I really think it's healthy for people to have a space that they go, whether it's a local coffee shop, a library, or just a space that you can go outside of your home to work from. And you and I definitely both shared that value, and we found this awesome space in Brooklyn, and it just made sense to build a pretty studio. And you know, you've used the studio before. We've had other people use it as well. But yeah, I'm somebody that I just like things to look nice, you know?
You're aesthetic, and I think that's something that obviously you don't get interviewed a lot, but Kate is actually a very talented artist and an oil painter. Creative. I mean, this wall is lime washed. I didn't even know what that meant. I still don't even really know what it means.
Lime wash is popular right now.
Well, it looks cool.
Yeah. So first topic, what we've learned from 56 plus weeks of conversations after the run. So I'm just going to run you through quickly some of our stats, guys. But we have interviewed 6 award-winning journalists: Al Roker, Dana Perino, Mark Consuelos, Lindsay Davis, Will Reeves, Jason Kelly. We've interviewed 13 founders. I'm not going to read them all, but to name a few of our highlights, we've interviewed Rebecca Minkoff, Darman, one of the co-founders of Robinhood, the co-founder of Infatuation, the Real founder, Christina Tausi, the founder of Milk Bar, Gary Vaynerchuk, and so many more. We've interviewed 6 elite athletes: Tom Aspinall, Charlotte Flair, Tim Tebow, Paul Rabel, Nicholas Thompson, Sean Johnson. We've interviewed 10 musicians, and to name a few, one of them being Jordan Davis. And if you guys follow my Instagram stories on my personal page at Kate Mackz, then you know I am always sharing Jordan Davis's songs. And I was actually in the top 1% of listeners on my Spotify rap for Jordan Davis. We've interviewed Dierks Bentley, John Party. John Party was actually the first and only guest that we drank a beer with on camera. Which I probably shouldn't have been drinking a beer, but I had no idea, but we're going to get to that. Mike Posner, Xandra Pohl, and so many more. And we also completed the Wicked trifecta. We interviewed Mary-Kate Morrissey, who played Elphaba, Ali Trim, who currently plays Glinda, and we just recently interviewed Jordan Litz, who was on the podcast last week, and he is the longest running Fiero in Broadway's Wicked history.
What a guy.
And we built 21 sets across 5 states. So we obviously have this beautiful set in Brooklyn, but not everybody comes to Brooklyn to film the podcast. And what we love to do is we love to go to people, meet them where they are, and pop up our podcast there, hang out with them. And, so that was a lot. We really have, done a lot. And there's so many more categories of people that we could have, highlighted.
Actors.
But yeah, we've done actors.
Troy and Balsario, Meg Donnelly.
Yeah.
Others.
Troy and Balsario was our biggest episode, which was so cool to interview her because I watched Pretty Little Liars when I was growing up. So that was crazy to be sitting across from her. I was like, whoa. You know, a lot of people ask me, like, do you ever get starstruck? And it's very rare that I get starstruck. I don't know why. I think it's just like we do so many of these interviews, like typically on like an average week. Obviously, we're going into the holidays, so things slow down a little bit. But I typically film like anywhere from 4 to 6 interviews in a week. And we often have, you know, people on that you see a lot in the media, whatever the industry that they may be in is in. So you kind of just... it becomes, obviously I get like so excited for every single guest. I get excited for anybody that shows up for me, but I don't really get starstruck that often. I think it's because like you realize after doing so many of these that people are just people and they just want to be treated like a friend. But I do have to say, Jeremy and I had one person in 2024 that we got starstruck by 2024, right?
Last year?
No, it's this. We'll say it on 3. Who's the one person we both got starstruck by? 3.
We both got starstruck by
3
in 2024.
In 2024, not 2025.
So
sorry.
last year.
It's the only person.
Only
3,
person we both got starstruck
2,
by.
1.
I didn't get starstruck by
Yes,
anybody.
you did.
Who did I get starstruck by?
Jason Derulo.
Oh, well, that was on the running show. I thought you meant the podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy just glistens.
Jeremy
I didn't get starstruck. I was just like, this guy's literally glistening. Like,
he came out of his like stretcher car or whatever. We met him on the West Side Highway, and that, if you guys are familiar with the West Side Highway, we met him. Oh God, what is it? Like right near Pier 45. But in the area that you can like pull up with a car. So it's kind of like there's Pier 45, and then you're running towards the Freedom Tower, and then there's another pier, and then there's this like stretch of buildings where you can play like soccer in or whatever. And that's where we met him. And he got out of his stretcher car, and Jeremy and I both saw it because we talked about it afterwards, but he was like glistening silver, wasn't he?
I never knew what aura meant until then.
That's aura. Jason Derulo's got it.
He was like, do I have like, I was like, we were like looking at his face. Cause I mean, I was just like, whoa, it's a good looking guy. And,
he's so good looking.
He's like, do I have pizza in my beard? I was like, are you, no, man, you don't have anything in your beard. You've got something going on, but It's not pizza in your beard.
No, he looked so good. And, it's not even just that he's good looking. It's just, he's got that aura.
He glows, literally.
Glows. And it's probably because that's somebody that we like I haven't done that many people that we've really grown up watching, you know, like he's somebody that we've known about since we were little kids, like using our Apple gift cards or iTunes gift cards to buy their music. Right. I would imagine like we were supposed to do an interview with Ed Sheeran in 2024 when he was doing promo for something, whether I don't forget, maybe a new album or a new song. And it ended up getting canceled, but I had imagined that probably would have been a similar situation.
Troy and Belisario was very cool. I think that was one of your top podcast episodes. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize when we showed up that she was married to Mike from Suits. Yeah, that was someone who, I mean, I used to love that show when I was a little kid. I think it's had a comeback over the last few years. Mm-hmm. But that was kind of like a moment where like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. We showed up at their house that had been on like Architectural Digest the week before, and he just like comes out of the office. What you doing, honey? I'm like, you're married to Mike from Suits?
Patrick J. Adams, right?
Patrick J. Adams. Great guy. Great couple.
They are such a great couple. I'm such a fan. So I have a few things kind of prepped here just within the key learnings from the year. What are some of the biggest things we have learned from the vast range of people that we have interviewed on Post Run High, and what would you say are some of the common threads?
So everybody has their own demons that they've faced, whether it's mentally, whether it's in their jobs. Mm-hmm. And yeah, the thing that has been consistent and is also the theme of your show, or the common thread, is when times are good, they move, they get out, they get going. When times are bad, they move, like physically. And that helps everybody get through those periods and into greener pastures.
Yeah, definitely. I like that you said that. I agree. I think it's very clear through like every single person that we have interviewed that has made something of their lives and had success in some sort of way has faced highs and lows in different ways. And I actually wrote down a few. So I like that you gave that example because I wrote that down as well. But one example that always comes to mind is Tim Gunn talked to me about not being casted for the new season of Project Runway. And he's somebody that obviously is a fashion icon. He was the face of Project Runway for so many years, or one of the faces of it with Heidi Klum. And I think we might have talked about it off camera, but he was really upset that he didn't get recast for the show. So that's, part of his story that he was very open about. Another person was Paul Rabel. This was a dream guest for me, but Paul Rabel is like known as one of the best lacrosse players ever. He's goated. And I was a lacrosse player growing up. I come from a family that loved lacrosse. My brothers played. My parents got really into it when we were kids. So to interview him was really cool. And he started the PLL, the Professional Lacrosse League. And one of the things that he was really open about was all of the discouragement and negativity that he faced within the lacrosse community, a community that had lifted him up for so many years, was now putting him down and saying to him, you're never going to be able to do this. You're never going to be successful. You're never going to build another lacrosse league, professional lacrosse league, because there already was one.
Who does Paul think he is, building his own competitor?
Yeah.
Professional league.
And sure enough, of course, he now has, and he's been very successful with it. And Paul will go on to do so many things that he's going to find.
They bought the first league.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they acquired it. Okay, another example, Julie Wainwright. We had her on recently. So Julie, as you guys know her, is the CEO of The Real Real, or you might not know her, but you might have shopped at The Real Real before. Julie Wainwright was the founder and CEO, and she was actually the CEO of Pets.com, which is something that I didn't know about, but Pets.com was a massive failure during the dot-com bust. And Julie, in her 40s, was publicly humiliated over what happened to Pets.com because she was the CEO, she was the face of the brand, and it was public humiliation. A lot of media sources picked it up, etc. Anyways, she obviously goes on a little bit of a hiatus, eventually reinvents herself by coming up with the idea for The Real Real, which you guys can watch our podcast or listen to our podcast to hear that story behind her founding The Real Real. But The Real Real went on to be one of the first female-owned companies to go public. She obviously made a ton of money, massive success. But then she got fired from her role at The Real Real, and she is now in another phase of reinventing herself. So it just goes to show that all of these people, and those are just a few examples, if you listen to every single one of our episodes, we just interviewed Jordan Litz last week, who's Fierro on Broadway. He's the longest running Fierro.
Good guy.
And Jordan Litz, his whole life, was an elite level swimmer. He raced in the 2012 Olympic trials against Ryan Lochte. Is that his name?
Ryan Lochte, yeah.
Ryan Lochte and Michael Phelps.
Ever heard of them?
Yeah. Michael Phelps and I actually have the same birthday, June 30th. Shout out. We got to get Michael Phelps on the show.
Huge fan of the pod, I bet Michael's listening right now. Michael, come on, man.
Friend of the pod. I love when people say that. That'd be sick if we had him on. But anyways, Jordan had to go through a phase of reinventing himself because obviously in 2012, nobody was beating out Michael Phelps or Ryan. As Jordan said, they were just built differently. And he reinvented himself.
No matter how good he got, he just wasn't going to be as good as them.
Exactly.
He could have been the best guy in 10 years before, 10 years after. There was no way he was going to be the best guy then.
Yeah.
He wasn't right below them, but he was close. He was in the Olympic trials.
Right.
But at a certain point, it was just I got to do something else.
Yeah. So he pivoted from elite level swimming to musical theater, and then working his butt off to get to the top of the top within musical theater, and is now a principal on Wicked playing Fierro.
He literally was at Disney World as a prince, right? Like a prince at Disney World.
Yeah, which is also cool, and that's a way that a lot of people get their start. But I mean, not everybody. He was saying his wife didn't want to be an actress, but she was a Disney princess at Disney World.
You go from being an Olympic or close to Olympic swimmer to a prince at Disney World. That's just within a year. That's just a crazy pivot, and a 5:13 miler. Jeez.
That's crazy. He's that you guys have to listen to this podcast because this guy is just a beast. Everything about him was just so cool. He's such a great guy, and he's a girl dad, which we love. A girl dad to 2 girls. I don't know if he had his second daughter yet, but by the time this podcast comes out, I'm pretty sure his second baby girl will have been born. Again, everybody has their highs and lows regardless of the industry, and as Jeremy said, movement was one of the common threads that we found through all of these people that helped them push through, power through, and, regain the strength to keep on going.
Keep on keeping on, as
Keep on keeping on.
Dirk Bentley said.
Okay, on that note, of course, if you're on Post Run High, there's some sort of movement involved in the show. Before we sit down for the show, we do some sort of movement, whether it's a walk, a run. I'm pretty sure we have some rock climbing coming up. I've done a bike ride with guests. But if you are involved in the show, you have to do some sort of movement first. So one of the common threads with all the guests is definitely that they all exercise and move their bodies. And even Al Roker at 71 prioritizes movement, and Tim Gunn prioritizes movement as well at 72. And I'm pretty sure in the beginning of our episode with Tim, he talked about working out with a trainer or something. I forget the type of movement that he was doing, so you guys will have to go back to that episode and watch it. But anyways, I just loved knowing that people of all ages are moving their bodies, and you don't always get to learn that about certain people based on their careers, you know? Who? Fencing. He was
Thank
fencing.
you, Mikey.
Yes.
Tim Gunn was
fencing. I was going to say boxing, and I was
definitely
like,
got to get Tim Gunn back on the pod and you and him do some fencing.
Oh, that'd be crazy. I think one of the common threads that I've realized with all of these guests, and that I've realized even through the running interview show, is that success looks glamorous, but it starts with discipline. And I think the common thread that you'll see and find amongst all successful people is that they've gotten their 10,000 hours in. I
agree. I think the saying is what, like an overnight success after like years of repeated effort. I think there's some quote there, but that was what, like everybody in all the country artists you did.
10-year town.
That's what they all said. They're like, yeah, you come to Nashville, you work your tail off, you work bars, you write for other people, you put in your hours, and 10 years in is when you get your big break.
Mm-hmm. And I think one of the cool things that I learned through interviewing a lot of the country artists is that, and I think this applies to every industry, but I'm just going to use one of the country music artists as an example. Jordan Davis, my favorite, is that when he moved to Nashville, he wanted to be a songwriter, and he was going to record labels, couldn't get picked up as a songwriter. And they said to him, like, all the record labels were like, we're not signing anybody that's not an artist right now, like not somebody that can also sing. So he goes to Nashville to become a songwriter, then is told he's never going to make it unless he's a singer, and he's never sang before. And he puts the work in and he learns how to sing. And now he's Jordan Davis, and his songs are incredible. He's literally one of my favorite country artists ever. I love his voice so much. Turn that track around.
All right, you can stop talking about Jordan Davis.
By dirt. But like, think about that. It's like, so I think the point there is that.
I'm joking.
The point there is that, like,
he's a great guy.
The point there is that I think it's so important for people to, one of the common threads I found through all these interviews is that it's so important for people. Roll with the punches, but also it's like, follow your passion. Yes. But as you're following that passion and chasing the thing that gives you energy, don't be afraid to dabble in some of the other things or opportunities that might come up along the way, because you never know where they're going to lead you. Even when I think about myself with the running interview show, is that I started out doing runs with people, but really my running interview show in the early days in March of 2023, when I just started in April of 2023, I was just running with people and vlogging it and like learning why they like to run and learning how many years they lived in New York and, you know, what they do for work. And obviously like running 5 miles, 10 miles, having fun with them along the way. But it wasn't necessarily an interview show. And like the interview show came so naturally because I had Bobby Flay and Chelsea Cutler reach out to me, and Bobby Flay was like, I have this cookbook coming out. I would love to come on your show. I'm a runner, and we can talk about, you know, the work that I have coming up, and I can tell my story. And we can also cook together and do your running show, you know? So like, I had no idea that this was going to turn into
like a
running interview show, like an interview show.
Well, I remember Jason Derulo, which one of the common themes I think you see from successful people is their curiosity. And I'd say especially successful people who like came out of nothing, you know, like there's probably a certain degree of nepotism in, you know, the world of celebritism. However,
celebritism, is that a word?
I think I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna roll with it. But there's a lot of people who, you know, Barbara Corcoran, I'll use her as an example. Derulo, you know, they didn't, you know, they really made something for themselves, and curiosity is what enabled that. Derulo is also a guy who wrote songs for people. Like he got in the right room with people. He made it happen. And one of the things that he said that I thought was super interesting, this wasn't on the interview, he just said to us, because I'm like, yo, man, this is crazy. Like, you're doing this with Kate. Like, thank you so much. Like, this is huge. Like, thank you. This is an awesome opportunity for us, for Kate. And he was like, well, he's like, I'm going to be honest, this is a great opportunity for me. He's like, I flew here with my crew to do I think the morning show, or I don't know, one of the talk shows. He was like, yeah, it cost me, like $1 million to fly everybody here, to fly my entire, dancing team, production team. Mm-hmm. And he was like, this is going to probably do better numbers. He was like, this is probably going to get more views, like more hits than that whole shebackle. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the future. And I was like, you saying that, like Jason Derulo saying that, like, this might actually have like more of an impact than like the morning show or the Today Show or whatever it was, like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and it's so funny because even like that was a year ago.
Which, not saying it did or didn't, but
no, and even
I think it did.
I think it got a lot.
He ran with his security guards. It was pretty funny.
It got a lot of views, and but even it's funny that even then you were like, oh my god, but now it's like people kind of know that like social media stuff is doing better numbers and podcasts and than the typical shows, and we're hearing a lot about that. And anyway, so it's going to be really interesting to see how the next couple of years unfold. Okay, the last thing, and then we'll move on to the next topic, but I have a few people written down, so I just want to go over them. But reinvention is the real superpower is another thing that I wrote down as a key learning from everybody that we've had on in season 1. A couple examples: Mark Consuelos, you guys might know him from Kelly and Mark, or from, what was that show, Riverdale. But Mark Consuelos shifted from acting to hosting, and I'm sure he'll do more acting gigs, but right now he's in his hosting era, and that's a big transition, going from scripted television to unscripted. Shawn Johnson, we had her on. I knew her growing up as the Olympic gymnast. She was kind of in that golden age, one of the golden ages of gymnasts.
Absolute legend,
and she is currently,
she's so tiny,
and has been rebuilding her life post gymnastics and figuring out this new identity for herself, which is so cool to see. And she's done such a good job with it. And then the other example is Christina Tausi, and she was always somebody that loved making desserts, but she reinvented the dessert industry and how we see desserts, which I feel like we don't like notice as much now because there's so many crazy desserts out there. But at the time when Milk Bar came out, like, her desserts were so different and so unique. And she came from Momofuku, making what it would be considered, like, she was like a sous chef, right? Like a professional chef. So making savory dishes. So she went from savory to making the best sweets. And that's on the power of reinvention. So topic number 2 is how our life has shifted in the last year and how it will be shifting in 2026. This is the topic that I'm super excited to talk about, but we never really talk about what's going on in my life because we spend so much time interviewing other people on the show, which is definitely my passion. I love interviewing people and getting to know their stories. And guys, my goal is to be an interviewer. So that's why you see a lot of those episodes, but it's always fun to talk about what we're up to. And I think our biggest update so far has been that Jeremy and I got married in September of 2025.
Show that ring, baby.
Locked it down. And it was a really exciting year. A lot of family events, a lot of seeing friends that we don't get to see that often. I know your friends that live in North Carolina. So we had a really exciting, just friends and family type of year, jam-packed with events.
Probably do an entire episode just on a wedding and lessons learned there.
What would you say is the biggest lesson you learned from our wedding?
Whew, that's a good one. The biggest lesson.
Just whatever pops into your mind.
It's all gonna work out. I think for us that day, Kate was looking at the weather for the month leading up to the wedding, and I must say, the reports were not great. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there was a terrible storm that day. Mm-hmm. It was a very bad flash flood type situation. Had some difficulty with the buses getting out. Actually, one of our guests, their cars got just destroyed by trees, and we didn't learn until later. We were just like, so I was like, oh, are they okay? And no one wanted to like upset us, so we didn't learn until later. But yeah, totaled both their cars. So yeah, the weather was terrible for the most of the day. Kate really wanted to do an outdoor ceremony that was super important to her, but we switched it up. We audibled. We did an indoor ceremony. It was beautiful. And then as soon as the indoor ceremony was over, the clouds parted, and we went outside, and it was beautiful. And there was it was like a hot, humid, rainy day earlier in the day. And then by the afternoon, the cocktail hour, it was a perfect breeze.
Yeah.
And the clouds had lifted. So it's all going to be okay. That's the takeaway.
Yeah, I think it's all going to be okay. I do have to say, for brides out there that are planning, 2026, 2027 weddings, do choose a venue that has a good enough weather plan that you're happy with, because I do have to say, we got married at Sleepy Hollow Country Club.
Awesome venue.
Beautiful venue. My grandparents have been members forever, so it was really special to me. I really wanted to choose a venue that didn't feel like a wedding venue to me, like was a place that I grew up going to, I was familiar with. I had a couple family members that had also gotten married there, so there was a lot of history there. My grandma, I think, had her debutante there. I could be getting that wrong. But anyways, it was a place just rooted in family history for my family. You also have a lot of connection to that area because your dad grew up in that area. But regardless, we got really lucky because nothing had to be outside. Like, our weather plan was still beautiful when we pivoted the ceremony from being outside to being in a room inside Sleepy Hollow. Like, the room looked like a chapel. It was still gorgeous. And then people got to enjoy the outdoor area without being obstructed by like a ceremony setup. When we ended up getting good weather for the cocktail hour, and the reception was in a totally closed off tent. So I do have to say, like, if you're planning a wedding, like, I was the type of person that I was like, it's never going to rain on my wedding. Like, I'm never going to get that unlucky, But of course it did rain on our wedding, and it was like a monsoon. It was like the worst it could have possibly rained. Like, Jeremy and I didn't get that many pictures from our wedding because the weather was so bad outside, and we wanted to avoid like my dress getting super muddy and just like soaking wet before the ceremony. But yeah, so you need a contingency plan that you're comfortable, and not only comfortable with, but like you're happy with, because the last thing you want is for it to be your wedding day and you to be like, oh, like it just wasn't as beautiful as it could have been. Like, I still feel so grateful that our wedding was so beautiful, and it was different than what we expected, but not that much different. You know what I mean? And I actually had, shout out Soto Method again, but leading up to the wedding, I was going to Soto Method a lot.
I was too. Well, actually, I was doing the app.
Yeah. And I was talking to all the girls there, all the instructors and the girls that work at the front desk, knew that I was stressed out about the weather for the wedding. Like, I would walk in and they'd be like, well, how's it looking today? And
it was like a month long.
Yeah, it was like a
weather report.
A saga. And then
every day, AccuWeather, weather.com.
Oh my God. Yeah. And by the way, just trust that they're right. If they say there's going to be, if one of them says 100% chance of rain, baby, it's raining. But I do have to say, so I, one of like the last week before the wedding, I had Steph Shrine who's like one of my favorite instructors at Soto. She just ran the New York City Marathon actually, and she was a Marine. So great girl. And she said to me, she goes, Kate, she was like, Kate, the hardest thing when it comes to like big life events and things that you're like excited about is managing your expectations. And as soon as she said that to me, my mindset completely shifted. Because like, who am I to be like, why is it going to rain on our wedding? Like, this isn't what we planned for. This isn't what we wanted. But at the end of the day, it's like, you have to be able to manage your expectations, And I think that goes for so many things in life. It's like, nothing is ever going to go perfectly to plan, and you just have to be okay with that. Anyways, it was a really good mindset shift for me. I felt like I was in a therapy session when she said that. But
and what you need to also do, you need to do a mini moon. After your wedding, don't do a big honeymoon. Do that at some point, but just go get in your car, drive somewhere, do something comfortable.
Yeah.
I just think the last thing that I wanted to do after that whole lead up and all the logistics and planning and effort and then energy that you expend leading into the big day is then Uber over to an airport, fly for 22 hours to the other side of the world. Like, just take it easy. And then what's great is that you now have that get out of jail free card for the next 3 years. If you want to go on a 3-week trip or something, 2-week trip, you can always say, oh, I'm on my honeymoon. Like, I'm not going to respond to emails. I'm not going to respond to texts. Let me be. But if you'd done that right away, then you wouldn't have that anymore.
That's true. I mean, I think both are great. If you're the type of person that's like, I want to do my honeymoon right away, that's what I always imagined for myself. Again, manage your expectations. But also, that's fine. Like, I think people have so much fun with that. I've had a lot of cousins and friends and family members. My mom and dad did that. My grandparents did that. But definitely, if you're somebody that's taking a long trip after your wedding, in the beginning of it, allocate, I would say, at least 3 to 4 days of just R&R, hit a spa, because I was really sick after our wedding.
Yeah, you did. You got burnt out from it. I was fine.
Yeah.
I
had like a cold.
I think you put more effort into the wedding than I did, admittedly.
Maybe.
However, New Yorkers or anyone in the Northeast, honestly, anyone anywhere, we have a great recommendation. We planned our mini moon. You could also call it a honeymoon, whatever, but I'm choosing to call it a mini moon.
It was so beautiful that I was like, Jeremy, this is our honeymoon.
Yeah, a couple weeks before, we got a very reasonably priced place. All the upstate New York, Hudson Valley places were like 3-4 times as much. This place was like 5-star resort. Oh my gosh, they spoke different. It was in Quebec, so they spoke Quebecois. They spoke a different language, which made it feel more exotic than it really was.
French.
Yeah, but
Quebec
6-hour drive from New York City, and you're in a French-speaking country with like beautiful mountains and
it was
countryside.
Really
I digress. Team Mini Moon.
Team Mini Moon and Team Manwar-Hovey. It was really beautiful. Actually, Laura Geller we did a running interview show episode with her. She's famous
awesome.
Makeup artist. She has a great
pod.
brand. We got to get her on the
Season
pod.
2, she'll be on.
We're definitely having her on the pod. She's so great.
She's hilarious.
Oh, she's hilarious. Yeah. She actually sponsored Jeremy's mom, who was running the New York City Marathon this year. If you guys haven't seen that video, go check it out. But she was the one who recommended a mini moon, and I'm really happy that we like went with that plan, because you and I would not have been in a place to plan a whole trip also after. Not that that's the point. I really think like mini moon was the move for us, regardless of anything. We were always somebody that like wanted to do the trip later. But on that topic, I have 2 ideas for
Not to cut you off. Meanwhile, my grandma got married this year, and she went on an African safari. So she did not take that advice. She very much did the honeymoon.
That's so funny.
Grandma B.
Jeremy's Grandma B is the best. She's 86 years old. She remarried, and she religiously remarried. And yeah, her and her 86-year-old partner, husband, they went on a honeymoon to Africa. They went on a kosher honeymoon.
Kosher safari.
So cool. She was like sending us pictures of her on an elephant. I was like, what is going on? But awesome. I mean, I only hope to have that kind of energy when we're that age. She's awesome. But on the topic of a honeymoon, I have 2 ideas that I do want to do when we do decide to do our honeymoon. The first one is go to the south of France and rent a house.
Le Sud.
Just chill.
I like that.
The second one is an African safari.
I think when we have little kids, that'll be fun.
And I want to do it with our daughter.
Oh, our daughter. What, you have something to say? And now we're saying it? Is that
okay, so our final update, life update, is that Jeremy and I are pregnant.
We're pregnant.
We're pregnant. So we're having a baby in the beginning, mid-June. I don't know when she's going to decide to come, but
Kate's pregnant.
It's a girl. And yeah, we are getting into we're in our second trimester, and everything's been going well. So
saw her jumping around the ultrasound the other day.
Saw her jumping around. That was crazy. It's crazy how big they get so quickly.
Crazy how good ultrasounds are.
It's weird that she's with us right now. But yeah, I definitely want to do a honeymoon where we bring our daughter. It'd be so fun.
So that's the personal stuff.
So everybody that's listening to this, which you guys are like our family, like when you think of like the people that listen to our shows, it's like people watch the running interview show, but if you guys are also people that listen to the podcast,
or if you don't even watch the running show,
or if you don't watch the running, if you only listen to the podcast, then
you're finding out first.
You're finding out first, A, but B, go give me some love when you see me doing running interviews with people, because I have to say, I've been a lot more delicate with my body, but it's been a lot harder because I'm not a scientist. This is from ChatGPT, because I've been like, why have I been so breathy on these runs with people? And I think your heart just like works a lot harder when you're pregnant.
Well, it's being for two of you.
You're pumping a lot more blood. I don't know, something like that. But anyways, the runs have definitely been harder. But we've been working closely with our doctor to make sure everything we're doing is healthy and we're not overdoing anything. I think that's the biggest thing with me is I'm not like an over exerciser. And I don't push my body to any extreme. So we are safely running, but it's going to be a fun year because you'll see my body continue to change, my stomach get bigger, and we're going to be doing a running interview show while carrying a baby.
Yeah, and then after you push the baby out, I don't want to commit you to anything over the air. However, you have expressed a goal for postpartum.
Yes. So I haven't done a marathon since 2020. Well, we did the marathon in 2023, I guess, but that was like unsanctioned marathon.
You haven't done a marathon sanctioned since you've had screws.
Yeah. I haven't done a sanctioned marathon since New York City.
Shooting through your
Right. Since New York City in 2021. But
ligaments.
I do kind of want to do the New York City Marathon in 2026. And obviously it's going to take time post having the baby to be cleared to start running again. I think it takes like 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how your birth goes and all of that. But regardless, by end of September, October, I'll be running. So there's a chance that I do the New York City Marathon or maybe the Philly Marathon, who knows. But I would love to do a marathon postpartum and just challenge my body to get back after it.
Show your baby girl what's possible.
Okay, so those are our life updates. Let's go into the third and final, because I think this segues nicely into it. But what are our goals for season 2 with you guys? So we alluded to this in the beginning of the podcast that we wanted to talk about this, but I think coming off the fact that I'm pregnant, we're going to be moving into a season of becoming parents. My body's changing a lot. I'm asking a lot of questions. I want to interview in season 2 a lot of health experts, a lot of women's health experts, a lot of doctors, a lot of athletes, maybe some women that have had kids and gone back into being competitive athletes, and just kind of talk about things that I think we, as both women and as men, are Googling about our bodies.
You just had a girl dad on this past week.
Just had a girl dad on this week, yeah, and he's pushing his body to the extreme, and he was great to talk about, Jordan Litz. But anyway, so I think in season 2, you guys are really going to see, and you probably saw it with the last couple of episodes with Nicholas Thompson and then Jordan Litz, the style of interviewing that we're doing. But moving into season 2, we really want to get hyper tailored in the episodes we're sharing and the people that we're having conversations with, because we want to make sure that we're getting the most amount of value out of all of the episodes for you guys. Like, I want to be learning just as much as you guys are learning, and I want us to be, talking about topics that can help us.
Every time you tune into Kate, you're going to get something out of it that is going to apply to you or help you in some way, shape, or form in your own life. Mm-hmm. That's really it. I mean, we've obviously been blessed that you've been able to do a lot of folk, very diverse array of folk at different types of talent, but really we're trying to always just have that nugget in the back of our head of like, okay, these are great people, but like, how can they actually help our listeners? Like, how can they improve folks' lives? So that's really the framing that we're taking into season 2. Also going to be on the lookout for more just experts on different topics. Health, wellness is obviously going to be one of the biggest ones. But we're open to your guys' ideas of like what are types of things and types of people you want to learn from. If you have ideas, Kate's DMs, or I would say the Post Run High podcast Instagram, DMs are open. Like, we're here to serve you, frankly. So let us know how you want to be served.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't say it better myself. That's exactly that's it. And with that being said, this is our season 1 wrapped, and we are so excited for season 2. We'll be back with you guys in just a few weeks, and coming up, we have a lot of people, including Jeremy's mom that we're filming an episode with.
Is she going to be the premiere?
I think so.
The premiere of season 2?
I think so. She's going to be so good, guys. If you don't know Dana, go check out some of my New York City Marathon posts. She's a psychologist. She specializes in hypnosis. She also specializes in sports performance, and she works with a lot of big-time athletes.
Of like retired NFL players. Mm-hmm. She's ran a bunch of marathons. She's one of the fastest 65-year-old women in the world. Mm-hmm. She's also my mommy.
She's also Jeremy's mom, and she's the best.
The grandmother, future grandmother.
Yep, of our baby girl. And it's going to be great. But that is a wrap for season 1. We love you guys so much and appreciate you for being here. If you made it to the end of this episode, you are a real one. And I'm just so excited for season 2 with you guys. And as Jeremy said, our DMs are wide open. So please send in any guest requests that you might have, any ideas for the show, things that you want to hear more of, any questions for me or Jeremy, and we will do our best to answer all of you and answer all of them.
And make sure you follow the show wherever you get your podcasts.